Hey guys, and check what I have in front of me. Check this out, check this out. It's none other than the 7th Acoustics Stargazer. And as far as I know, I believe I'm one of the first, let's say, I'm not going to say Westerners because it doesn't sound right, but I'm going to say one of the first people out of the Far East market, so Indonesia, Malaysia, that kind of part of the world, to actually be reviewing this. And I've had it for about a week or so now, and I really took my time because I was really not believing what I was hearing. I don't want to jump the gun too much and spoil things, but let me just say that from a company which has been around for not that long, to be able to launch a product of this level, of this quality, is a true testament that they know what they are doing. They're not just putting parts together and throwing any old tune. No, they are doing their homework. They are really knowing how to properly R&D and build and put out a well-designed product, and the Stargazer is definitely one of those. Anyway, more in detail about the Stargazer. It's a hybrid. It's one of three models that they have. This is a 1+2. Its price is centered around the $160 to $180 bracket. So it puts it straight away in some stiff competition with regards to other stuff which is available. And I mean, you can see by what I've got in front of us that I've got some nice IEMs. But in my opinion, it's well worth the money. Well worth every single dollar. I'm just going to take you through the unboxing. The boxing and the packaging, let's put it that way, it's a nice packaging, although I have to admit that you can get a sense of a little bit of let's say DIY feel to it. Not a bad thing, mind you. Please don't take this the wrong way. It's not a bad thing, but you can feel it. Anyway, it brings, I guess this is like a keychain or two keychains, cleaning cloth. Brings, look, it's an acceptable cable. Let's put it that way. I've seen cables at a lower priced which are better. And my only real remark towards this cable is the fact that it's well, actually, let me just show you here on the actual IEM itself. So if you notice, let me see if I can zoom this in. Okay, there we go. The Stargazer is a recessed 2-pin, and the cable that it brings is well, it's gonna be like this. So it's not a proper recessed cable to be used with this IEM. Okay, I didn't have one as well on hand, but what I did have was this really nice XI-NHS blue jelly, which is slightly recessed, and it actually does fit better than the stock one. And so that is the cable that I used with the Stargazer, and that I did all the listening with, and I'll show you to you in a bit, a little bit in more detail. But anyway, that's my number one little attention, which is hopefully 7th Acoustics will do something with regards to that, and include with future Stargazers a proper recessed cable. Okay, and then the other little small detail is the fact that it only brings 3 pairs of tips. These seem to be Acoustone clones, so KB Ear 07 clones, and I am actually using them because I like those tips. It then brings this little Cardia serial number, when it was, which is a warranty card, when it was purchased. So nice little attention to detail here, which shows that they build, test everything, and actually they sent me even the graph of my particular set once it was finished building, so that I could actually then confirm it with what I then received and graph it, and perfect. No, in that aspect, with regards to that detail, perfect. Channel balance is almost flawless. I can't really fault it in any of those aspects. It's just really a little bit more tips would be nice, especially considering the price, and a nicer cable would also be nice if they could do that. Anyway, that's the box. Okay, as for the IEMs themselves, beautiful IEMs, really, really, really beautiful IEMs. This blue resin shell with the 7th Acoustics logo on one and the Stargazer kind of logo on the other. On video, and it doesn't do it justice. You really have to see this shell up live to truly appreciate it for what it is. Let me just see if I can actually zoom it in. There we go. It's a really, really nice looking shell. The color, everything. Inside, and those of you that will be a little bit more tech savvy, it's actually quite interesting to see. Okay, as I was saying, my apologies there. So inside, and for those of you which are a little bit more tech savvy, you will notice that there's a very interesting way of how the ducts have been done. And there's actually extra ducts which do not go to the dynamic driver or to the BAs, and they are there to resolve resonance peaks in what usually we call them as flutes. They have a flute effect, and they've adopted that to effectively lower any peaks which sometimes occur at 8, 9, 10 Ks, and it's been very smartly done, and obviously when you do listen to it, you notice it. It's very much noticeable that that usage of that technique, because you hear an IEM which doesn't use it, and you will feel those peaks if they are present, and then you hear this one and those peaks are definitely not present. So that's a little interesting detail in terms of the construction, how they were able to be smart about the tuning. Fit, flawless. Isolation, flawless again. Again, I'm talking about in my particular case, in my ears. But I feel that with the shell shape and the size, it's not going to be a problem for most. They stay really nicely and nicely secure. The nozzle has got a decent length, so it inserts pretty deep. So non-fatiguing in terms of the usage. And yeah, that's basically covers it in terms of its physical aspect. Like I said earlier, using a XINHS 4.4 blue jelly cable, really nice cable, really nice cable, and it just complements the whole vibe of Stargazer, the blue and so on and so forth, in a nice way. It brings this puck style carrying case, very normal, nothing nothing really out of the box here. That's it. So on to what we want to know, which is, what does the Stargazer sound? What is it all about? I used, for the majority of my listening, I used my topping NX7 coupled with my Acme with the AKM DAC, and I used my Q-Style M15. I also did some listening with my DX3 Plus Pro, or Pro Plus, I don't forget now. But anyway, my desktop. And well, one thing that have been noticing lately, not that I hadn't noticed it before, but I've noticed it lately because the IMs that are coming my way are seeming more sensitive with regards to that aspect, is depending on what you are using as your power source, it will dramatically change the IEM sounds and signature and so on and so forth. One of the IEMs that was very much a victim of that, and I guess that was perhaps one of the reasons why it didn't get as much love as it deserved and deserves, is the soft ears volume. I remember some people hooking it up, and I myself also did it with a TK2 from Try, and that is a very clinical, very clean, bright, sometimes occasionally thin sounding DAC amp, and it accentuates the already bright signature that the soft ears has, the volume. So it did make it, for some people, just overly energetic, let's put it that way. With regards to what I've got in front of you, GS Audio GD3C, Audio Sense IQ4, C Audio Yume the Midnight Edition, Rose Techniques QT9 MK2S, Soft Ears Volume, and of course the 7th Acoustics Stargazer. I found that the one which gave the best results with all of them, or the most balanced results with all of them, was the M15. With this combo here, I noticed that some would match slightly better than others. I liked this combo, for example, especially with the volume, because the warm character of the AKM deck in the Acme kind of tames it down slightly, that excessive energy that perhaps some might encounter, and it just matches very nicely. I mean, honestly, I really like that combination. The M15, the Q-Style M15, is really a gem. This thing is something else. Again, I want a bigger version of this. I definitely want, but obviously bigger, but something as good, at least as good as this. The IEMs in front of us, or here, are all very much in a, well, first of all, in a price scale, okay? So roughly $100, about $170, about $200, $230, about $280, $290. So obviously they are increasing in price. There's also a certain amount of scalability in terms of improvements. So if you start off with the 3C, the AQ4 is very much a logical upgrade to it. The Yume will be an upgrade if you're looking for something more laid back. The QT9 is an absolute beast. I mean, this thing is just wow, honestly. And then the soft ears would be, I'm not going to say the pinnacle of this progression, because that kind of might come across as I'm saying that that's the best. I mean, and no, it isn't the best. I would consider these two, well, on my review of the QT9, I said that I like this more than the Blessing. Well, compared here with the soft ears, I would say that these two are on par with each other, in the sense that if you want a more brightish signature, then the soft ears. If you want something which is a little bit warmer with this crazy good bass, very nice tonality, timbre, and more subdued highs, then definitely the QT9 is the one for you. All of these IEMs, like I was saying, have their merits, their pluses and their minuses. I mean, the 3C kind of resolves somehow the little issues that the 3A had, which was that little bit artificial, let's put it, presence to treble area. You know, it cleans it up slightly, just polishes it up ever so slightly. But overall, very nice sounding, nice sub bass focus, clean mids, really nice. Perhaps the only thing here that would need a little bit extra addressing would be the 5K peak, which I think in my case particularly didn't affect me, but some people might find it a little bit, you know, something that would require a little bit more attention. And depending on obviously what you're hearing, it can jump out more than if you hear a lot of stuff with guitars and with you know, trumpets and that kind of stuff. It can sometimes jump at you a little bit. The AQ4 is a little bit darker in the sense that it's not as bright sounding perhaps as the GT3C, but it's, for me, the biggest thing about the AQ4 is its tonality. It is got this, so it's so nice and warm and lush, and you're listening to music and you hear like stuff like Frank McComb, and his voice just comes across so nice. Brian Campos, Brian Sampras, sorry, in Twilight. It just is unbelievable how it reproduces that. Bruno Mueller, 80s again, the guitar. It is really nice. Yes, some people might find the bass a little bit overpowering and thus consider it to be a little bit excessively colored, let's put it that way. But it's not a neutral IM to start with, so. But anyway, it can be an IM, but for those that, you know, want or not fans of big bass might not be the ideal. And honestly, I didn't find it to hinder in any way its detail retrieval capabilities or soundstage and imaging and anything of that. But like I said, it's an IM for those that want a nice full presentation. It's got some guts to it, some weight to it. The C audio, very much the critical signature. Nice sub bass focus, mellowed out mid bass, mids very good. The highs are an improvement over the original. The detail retrieval capabilities, so the technicalities have been improved. But I mean, if I was to compare these two, I prefer the AQ4. But that one, they would probably be the one that people looking for a more detailed, well, not more detailed, but a more relaxed sound would probably go for that. It's more, let's put it, correct. Okay. QT9. Well, love it. I just feel that everything that it does it very nicely. The unusual thing perhaps is the fact that it has an early start of the pin again, which some people found that it just made voices sound somewhat wrong. Personally, again, I didn't get that feel. I thought it was I thought it was an extremely well executed signature. You know, vocals come across beautiful, no sibilance whatsoever. There's a nice dip there in that 5K area. There's no sibilance. It's just so engaging, and then the technicality side of it, I think, is absolutely tremendous. Finally, the volume, which I personally liked it very much from the first time I listened to it. I never found it to be excessively bright or excessively in your face or anything of the sort. What I did find, yes, that it was and it is very source dependent. So depending on what you have behind it, yes, it can come across not in the best ways. It is definitely, I would say, definitely colored with regards to the upper mids and highs. It's not as neutral as what is usually, let's say, the soft tiers kind of signature, but it's well done, it's well executed, so I don't find it offensive in any way, and it's definitely the progression to go for. Let me just show you here something. Okay, that is the graph of the soft tiers. Okay, as you can see, nice mellowed out, gliding kind of sub bass to mid bass and going into the mids. The next graph that I just put up is of the Yume. Sorry, let me just pause this a second. Take it back there. Okay, so the green line that you now see, the green line that you now see is the Yume, belongs to the Yume. And although when you're looking at it compared to the soft ears, you might get the perception, oh no, this has got very much kind of the same base of the soft ears. No, that even that, let's say, low end extension there, I didn't perceive it that way. What I did perceive, obviously, is it's less energetic up top, and so that excessive energy that some complained about was never an issue, and it's never an issue with the Yume. Okay, next we have the graph. Sorry, let me just, there we go. So that purplish line that you now see there is with that peak that you see there at around the 5K area, is the GD3C, and you will by now have noticed one detail, which is the fact that in terms of the bass response and up to about 2K, all three follow very much the same suit, the same, they emulate each other quite well. It's then just different levels of energy, and the 3C has very much the same energy level across the upper mids as the Yume. Is just that peak there at 5K that just I don't know, it just can sometimes get you. Next, there we go. That's our graph of the Stargazer, and as you can see, it has an early rise in terms of well, it's not that it's early, but it just rises a little bit earlier than usual with regards to the peanut gain. So it very much kind of has that sound signature that the QT9 was known for, with that early rise as well in the peanut gain. Instead of starting to rise at 1K or past, it starts rising a little bit before, maybe about 800 hertz it starts rising. But then, funny enough, compared to the actual curve of the QT9, there we go, actually, there we go, that's the QT9 in green, okay, so slightly less base energy at the real low end, but you can see that they're very, very similar. They're tuned in a very similar manner. And what all this basically then translates to, sorry about that, is that we are talking about an IEM which has the main thing that jumps to you first of all is it is got all the detail capability of a soft ears volume, with none of that excessive sensation of energy being present. It's got amazing technicalities, in my opinion. Okay, I would probably say that out of let's say, there's all of these IEMs are good. Okay, so it's very difficult for me to say, oh, this one is better, that one is worse. It's a little bit difficult because it's all very much going to be dependent on what you listen to and what you have to hook up to this, and so I have to be very sensible in the what I'm going to say. But if I was to divide this into two groups, the first group is composed of these three, so the GD3C, the AQ4, and the Yume. And out of these three here, for me, my taste, my music, AQ4 is the winner. Okay, then the 3C basically in ex aequo with the Yume. I would put these two basically on the same level. Okay, The UMA slightly edges the 3C out. But in this first group here, definitely the AQ4 is the winner. In the second group, you can already see how it's comprised of QT9, Soft Ears Volume, and 7th Acoustics Stargazer. If I'm going to talk bass, the best bass of the three here is the Rose Techniques, with a very close second of the Stargazer. Very close. And I mean, like, it was on occasions it was actually difficult for me to tell them apart. However good the bass on the volume is, you can notice that it just doesn't have the same kind of visceral impact that one has, the QT9, the Rose Techniques, and it doesn't have. It's a texture tonality thing that the Stargazer has. Okay, keeping in mind, please, that the differences here are minimal. It's not like huge differences and that one is significantly better than the other. No, it's all down to my musical taste and my preferences. So in terms of bass, I would say these two come out on top over the volume. In terms of mids, I have to say that the situation repeats itself. Not that the mids of the volume are not good, but they're just overly energetic. And by being overly energetic, they can stand out sometimes in a way which is not the ideal. So the mids of the Rose Techniques and the Stargazer are again the best mids, with it being very much a give and take between the Stargazer and the Rose Techniques. Some vocals will sound better with one, some vocals will sound better with the other. So it's very much, in terms of the high frequency, I'm gonna give it, it's again minimal. I'm gonna give it to the Stargazer. And why? Because they just sound that little bit extra more natural than the Rose Techniques. The Rose Techniques, sometimes it just will not sound real or realistic, not because it's overly energetic, but rather because it's under energetic, I'm trying to find it a little bit difficult to explain. If you have excessiveness sometimes on the part of the volume, there you have a little bit of lack. But again, the differences are minimal. Timbre, tonality, that whole, I'm going to give it to the Rose Techniques. The Rose Techniques is like the AQ4. It's just got this tonality that is so engaging. It's so satisfying. You know that you just see yourself listening to it all the time. The Stargazer, close runner-up, and then the volume. Once again, let me just reiterate this. We're talking minimal differences here. In terms of technicalities, if the volume was known for being quite capable in that aspect because of all that energy that it has, it made it capable, let's put it that way. Whether that capability or whether that ability to have all that detail was genuine or maybe just forced is a different story. The QT9 is equally as capable in terms of detail retrieval, but more realistically. And the Stargazer, it just beats the other two. It has the amount of energy that it should have when it's called for, and it's laid back when it's called for. So definitely these two, in terms of the technicalities, they come out on top. Soundstage is very good here, on par with the Rose Techniques. Imaging, again, on par with the Rose Techniques. It's really just the timbre and the tonality. It just sounds that little extra more appealing than the Rose Techniques with certain stuff. And once again, let me just say, this is me really nitpicking and really trying to go to the last possible detail imaginable. I mean, you go with either one of these two, and you can't go wrong. You just cannot go wrong. Where the Stargazer then edges out the Rose Techniques is with regards to the price. So there's a price difference of around 60, almost $70, and that's where the Stargazer beats the Rose Techniques. There's also the question of, in terms of, one company perhaps being slightly more mature than the other, so any possibilities of issues arising in the future, who would be more capable of resolving it? I really can't answer that, but under normal circumstances you would probably say Rose Techniques, because it's been around for way longer. But like I said, these two are on par with each other. So yeah, as I was saying, to finalize this video, because it's getting long now, we have definitely got a new contender in the let's say sub $300 hybrid market, and it comes in the form of the 7th Acoustics Stargazer. Very well executed, very well built, very well tuned. It shows a lot of serious R&D, everything. I mean, this if it had Moondrop written all over it, if it had any other big name written all over it, would definitely be a success story. Its only issue here is the fact that it's a relatively young company, but honestly, let that not be a deterrent for you. Let the fact that it's a young company be a deterrent for you. If you are able to get your hands on it and listen to it and try it out, I'm sure you will not be disappointed. I'm definitely sure you will not be disappointed. So yeah, that's basically it. In the, let's say, below $200, we have, in my opinion, the AQ4 still stands as the choice to go. And although this one is also below $200, I have included it in this section here, because its performance is really on a different scale to those three there, and a definite contender. I mean, you go with any one of these three, you cannot go wrong. Let's be honest about it. That's it. It will come just down to what is your preference in terms of sound overall, and a little bit more bright, a little bit less bright. That's where the differences are going to center themselves upon. So yeah, congratulations, 7th Acoustics. Well done. Really nice product. I'll put all the links for everything, the music, the cables, everything as usual. Like and subscribe, please. If you did enjoy the video, let me know if you have any questions that you would like me to answer you. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.